Hello, viewers and/or listeners. Welcome back to
season 5
of Porcelain Peak.
of 31 Tales of Porcelain Peak.
If this is your first time with us, in case you don't know,
If this is your first,
I'm Tone. This is John, aka Wilbur Gray, and Anthony DeBoy.
and I'm Anthony. What's that?
Wilbur Gray.
Wilbur Gray, yeah.
Okay, so now I need to know.
Mm-hmm.
Are you calling me Wilbur because of the pig?
No. That'll do, John.
You calling me Blob?
That'll do. All right. Again, if you don't know, we're a strange and scary podcast, and we're doing all kinds of spooky stuff for the month of October. So initially, thanks for hanging in with us. And this week, we are going to share some news about some sequels, some remakes, and a bunch of other shit. And then we're going to play some trivia per usual. And we are continuing with 2022's 31 Terror Tales.
Terror Tales. Yeah, this week's theme is deep cuts from the masters.
Sure,
Masters of Horror.
Masters of Horror. We watched some of their lesser-known movies, and we understand that.
We have
now.
thoughts.
And we're gonna tell you whether those should have stayed buried or whether we were happy they rose from the grave. Ooh.
Right.
Ooh, chain rattle, chain rattle.
So that's it. That's what we're going to do. So stick around, and thanks for joining us so far. We'll get started with that chop talk.
Take that axe, chop our ass.
Take that axe and chop my ass. What about take that ass? And
Let the news pour down.
You ever had a beer on Bourbon Street?
Why don't you take an axe and chop it open?
Well, before we get started with the news, John, Anthony, how are you guys? Having a great week?
Yeah, I'm starting my weekend right now because, spoiler alert, we're recording this the day that it has to be edited and uploaded.
Yeah, as if we weren't last minute enough.
Yeah, we hear these strange tales from other podcasts about, we record our episodes like 4 months in advance, and we have a big stockpile of episodes ready to go out, and we're like...
No, we're going to hang on to that news segment.
We're like, hey, man, if we can't do it Sunday, the show's not continuing. So it's over.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I'm glad that you're ready to enjoy your weekend.
Oh, I'm ready to enjoy my
I do want to extend a big thank you to this guy here, the Tonester, the Blob, for powering through getting through the 31 Terror Tales movies for this week while also at a work conference, because I've been there before where I was in Tennessee one year for almost all of 31 Terror Tales, and sitting in a hotel room trying to get yourself in the mood to sit down and watch a bunch of horror movies, especially in a week where they're a little bit more hit and miss. Takes some willpower, so congratulations on getting through them.
It did, yeah, and I roomed with a guy who I had never met previously, even though he's in the same school district as I am. And he wanted to talk a lot, which is fine. I get it, we're both stuck in this situation. But at some points I was just sitting like with my iPad on and headphones in, and he was still, and I was like, buddy, like, come on, guy. I don't know how to be any more obvious.
I'm working at my second job right now,
I'm
which is
working
watching
it.
these movies.
Yeah, but it was cool, and I'm glad I got it done, and I had a lot of fun. But before we get started with any news, I know we got a few things. I did want to say that today, at time of release on October 10th, it is World Mental Health Day. So we wanted to shout that out.
I'd cheer for that, but I don't know if that's a happy thing.
Yeah, because I want to
it's
bring
about
awareness
mental
to
health awareness,
it. Yeah.
right? Yeah. Okay.
Each year, World Mental Health is observed on October 10th to raise awareness around mental health issues worldwide and mobilize efforts in support of mental health. The day offers an opportunity to talk openly about mental health, which I think we're all big proponents of.
A little bit too open sometimes, I think some of our listeners would say.
Are you guys dying? The day offers an opportunity to talk openly. I think I already said that, right?
Yeah.
Work and just, worldwide. So there we go. It started in 2019, I think, and we're just raising awareness and suicide prevention. So their whole thing is just take 40 seconds today to talk about your mental health, someone else's mental health, just to be open about that. And I think that we just did 40 seconds more or less, huh? So like I said, I think the ribbon is green. So if you want to wear a green ribbon, go for it. We were going to, but I think we all forgot.
Yeah, did forget. But just imagine. No, actually, what we'll do is we'll get a PNG of a green ribbon that John can then drag and drop onto all of our arms
don't have it be
throughout the entire
have it
video.
still be a white background.
One of the checkerboard background. That's like the transparency didn't work right.
I'm a short turnaround time. I'm not doing anything.
And I'm gonna wave my arms around a bunch so that you have to meticulously keyframe the armband to follow around. Sometimes it's around my throat, but something else that I wanted to mention that is not probably not fit for usual Chop Talk, but I thought needed to be mentioned was that Sacheen Littlefeather, who
Yes.
we have an annual Oscars award partially named after the Emmeline Sacheen Gaynor Award. Sacheen Littlefeather, if you don't know, was the Native American woman who went up and accepted the award when Marlon Brando won his Oscar for The Godfather, and because he declined and wanted to bring attention to the plight of Native American people and how poorly they continue to be treated in the United States. And so she got basically harangued for the whole thing, and people shit on her, and Clint Eastwood was a terrible person and continues to be a terrible person about it. And anyway, she continued to fight the good fight for the rest of her life and just recently passed away. I think she was like 90 something years old. So
She stuck around for a long time.
yeah, we think that was a very cool and very brave and awesome thing that she did. And I was sad to see the news that she passed. So I sent it to this guy and we said, let's bring it up on the episode because we care about it. And this is our show.
Yeah, we have an award named.
And we have an award named after her. So yeah. But
An award that
other
I've
than
never
that,
won.
Award, yeah.
you guys want to get into some of the talk of the industry?
Let's get into some stuff. If you don't know what shit is already out, Midnight Club is out. So watch that. If you haven't, Chucky has started now. You're getting around to your second episode by the time you hear this. That's out. And what else? Hellraiser. Hulu Racer.
Yeah, so Netflix for Midnight Club, Sci-Fi, I guess,
And
for,
USA.
and USA for Chucky, Hulu for Hellraiser, Disney Plus has Werewolf by Night, which I would very
Yes,
much
that one too.
recommend checking out if you're a fan of Universal monster stuff.
Yeah, and if you want to join the Creep Cult, we're going to be talking about those in some capacity. That's over on Patreon for $5.
Let the Right One In just started on Showtime. If you want to check
That
that
too.
out, I haven't had a
Hocus
chance
Pocus
yet.
2 came out.
Hocus Pocus 2 came out. That's
2.
what we did for the Creep Cult. So if you're not a member of the Creep Cult, you should be.
Things that are
Cool
in
8 to
theaters
5.
right now that are doing gangbusters. Terrifier 2. I know a lot of people are diehard fucking fans of Terrifier. I remember our first exposure was
All
the
Hallows
All Hallows Eve anthology thing
More or
that we
less, yeah.
watched. Yeah, and then he spun off into Terrifier. I don't think Terrifier is very good, but I've heard this one is pretty amazing and also like 2.5 hours long or some crazy
Oh.
shit, and
That's long for a horror
supremely
movie.
gory to the point where Stuckman said it was the longest slasher he thinks he's ever seen, and it's supremely gory to the point where people have been throwing up in the theater. So I definitely want to check it out. And it made $1.2 million on its opening weekend, which was pretty good for a movie that most people probably had no fucking clue existed before now. Didn't know anything about the first one.
Yeah.
And so yeah.
Speaking of sequels that are on their way out, The Barn 2, we just got an email because we donated to their campaign. They're
Twice.
touring right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, trying at different festivals and getting some accolades, and it should be coming soon. We should be getting that bad boy, and you'll see our names on there because we are producers.
Yeah.
That movie's going to be my Hocus Pocus 2. If it's not as good as the first one, I'm going to be very upset. Speaking of Terrifier 2, David Howard Thornton, the actor who plays Art the Clown, plays him very well. Will also be playing the Grinch
Grinch.
in a new Christmas season slasher movie of some kind called The Mean One.
Good title.
Yeah, it's a very good title.
I have no clue what's going on. I guess all of these things are maybe going public domain. I don't understand how they would have the rights to do a fucked up Grinch movie, because I know with the Blood and Honey Winnie the Pooh one, it's because not the red shirt wearing Winnie the Pooh that Disney has the copyright for, but the A.A. Milne like literature version is the one that's in the public domain now. So that's how they're able to do that.
They
So,
could have also paid
Could be the same thing here. Could be
yeah,
the
Seuss.
Seuss.
yeah, the article.
Zeus.
Yeah, the article that I looked into didn't really go into detail about it, so I'm not 100% sure. Other stuff that's going on in the Wednesday. You guys hear about this Wednesday?
I saw
The day
that
of the
there's a
week
new
that's in the
trailer. I
middle?
haven't watched it.
Yeah, I haven't watched it either because I'm already sold. I'm like, I'm going to check it out, whatever. But Fred Armisen is playing Uncle Fester, and that was something that we didn't know up until this point. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I guess Christina Ricci showed up in the new trailer, but like I said, haven't watched it.
Pugsley is just goth Bobby Hill.
I saw that, and I was like, hell yeah, 100% accurate. Are you guys fans of the VHS franchise of anthology films?
More or less, yeah.
Well, we're getting 2 more.
Okay.
The one that's coming out now or relatively soon is VHS 99. I think the last one was like 94.
Okay.
So this is
I
another
heard
one of
94
those.
was like good in parts.
Yeah, I like
That's
some of it.
cool.
So we're getting 99, and then we are also getting an 80s one, 85.
Cool.
So
the only
if
one I
you're a
didn't
fan
really like
of-
was Viral.
The only ones I've seen, I think, are the first 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Viral's the third one. There's parts of the first 2 where I was like, oh, this one's fucking scary. Like, some of those stories are scary.
Well, and it's cool because I like when they bring, because like Ty West does stuff on like 1 or 2, and I think at some point like there's just a lot of directors that have now gone on to become bigger in the industry that did stuff on those early VHS movies, and I think it's a cool way to like give new horror directors the spotlight because people even from the 94 one have already gone on to get like bigger projects and stuff.
Oh, really? That's so cool.
The lady who did the woman who did the Ratma one, I think, made something recently, like the Rat in the Sewers guy. That one was freaky.
Parts of that were, yeah. So, yeah, they have some good stuff. I think they're worth checking out if you're a horror fan.
Yeah, we mentioned Midnight Club on Netflix. We all, I think, watched the first episode.
I haven't
Or had you
watched
not
it. I
yet?
haven't watched that yet.
I like it. I'm on board. I'm excited to watch the rest of it. Like we mentioned earlier, we'll probably be talking about it in some capacity, either on here or on Patreon. But the first episode broke a Guinness World Record. I have no idea how the Guinness Book of World Records works. Like, do they just make this shit up when they go, there's a lot of something going on there, and now it's a world record? But
I think people try, too. I think it's probably a lot of like, hey, I broke this, or I'm going to break this, and they have to get somebody to come out. Because I think I watched Rob Dyrdek do it. in an
Yeah.
He broke
episode.
like 21 records in a day or some shit. Yeah.
And then that was a record.
Yeah, and it's not a spoiler if you haven't seen the episode, but it breaks the Guinness World Record for most scripted jump scares in an episode of television, and the way that they do it is awesome and hilarious, so I would highly recommend checking it out. It's not what you would expect. And also, Mike Flanagan said it's a response to a lot of people's complaint that he just has long monologues with characters without enough jump scares, so he was like, cool, I'm going to put a fuck ton in this first episode.
And they address it and they talk about it, and I think that's really cool, too. We're like, dude, you got to fucking earn it.
Yeah. Justin Long, we're all fans of the Long Boy, right?
More or less. Sure.
Yeah. He is joining Disney Plus's Goosebumps series, the live-action Goosebumps series.
Didn't know they were
that
doing
they're
that.
Yeah.
I'm excited. With Hocus Pocus 2, I thought Midnight Club, but there are a lot of F-bombs being dropped, and it does have some adult material, so maybe not made for kids, but with Hocus Pocus 2...
I think the whole premise is kind of fucked up, right?
Yeah, and I didn't realize that going into it, but, that's cool. But with this Goosebumps, I'm happy to see some children's horror stuff, like, making a comeback. And
Are you afraid the dark's happening still?
Yeah, that too. I'm like, I don't know how much that's like made for kids, and I don't know how much this Goosebumps will too. Because with Disney Plus now, they're starting to show that with putting their Deadpools and their Netflix Daredevils and their Logans on, that they're
And
not
being able to lock accounts and things like that.
yeah, that they're not necessarily sticking to making stuff that's like safe for all audiences.
I mean, they have The Simpsons on there, so they stopped doing that as soon as they opened.
Yeah, people are still complaining about it. Robert Eggers
Hey, the guy.
Big boy.
is finally, apparently, moving forward on his Nosferatu adaptation, which has been in talks since The Witch. So he's
Mark Wahlberg cast.
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg as this is some Nosferatu.
Harry Styles was supposed to be in it.
Yeah,
and
Harry
then-
Styles was supposed to be in it, and then everybody saw that he is a terrible actor, I guess. I don't know.
think
I didn't
he
see
actually,
Don't Worry,
I
Darling.
think he actually backed out because he had prior engagements with like a tour.
Well, the man Renfield himself, Nicholas Hoult, recently joined the cast in the Harry Styles role, which I assume is going to be whatever the Nosferatu Jonathan Harker amalgam is. Anya Taylor-Joy was originally going to, I assume, be the Mina Harker parallel. She is now, it's now Lily Rose Depp, Johnny Depp's daughter.
Which everyone's complaining about, and I'm like, just let the people be in the movie.
Yeah, it's like you don't know. It's Robert Eggers. I'm sure his casting director chose her because she has talent. We've just not seen her in anything where she's gotten to stretch her muscles.
Yeah,
so maybe this will be it.
Everybody bitched and complained because they weren't paying attention to Robert Pattinson having a fucking career resurgence for the last 15 years. And everyone's like, oh, you got the guy from Twilight to be in your fucking weird horror
Don't
black
even
and white
them,
movie.
John. They
And
come out of the
and he was
woodwork for
fantastic
literally
in the Lighthouse.
anything.
Because he's been fantastic in literally everything since, like, Cosmopolis.
You didn't make my fan cast the actual casting. I'm gonna shit on this whole thing for a year
I'm not
before it
mad
comes out.
about Depp. I just like Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah.
My only thing is I'm getting to that point where I did with like your Adam Drivers and
She's in
where I'm
everything
like,
now.
you're in fucking everything, and good for you because I do love her. I think she's fantastic, and I think she's just I don't mind watching her and stuff at all. But give somebody else a chance. Like don't Chris Pratt it and erase literally like a million roles that could have gone to other people and give it to Chris Pratt. Just don't. And then also in the lead role of Count Orlok is Bill Skarsgård, who will luckily be in enough makeup in most of his roles that I won't get sick of seeing him in stuff, because he is also going to be in the, I think I mentioned this before, The Crow, the new Crow movie has just wrapped production. So it's like a thing that's happening. That's going to come out probably next year.
Unless it's owned by Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Unless Skarsgård starts doing some really fucked up shit.
But I'm excited for this because since it was announced, I think literally the entirety of everyone who likes Robert Eggers was like, yes, make Nosferatu, do it. So I'm excited for it. Velma, did you hear the big news about Velma?
She's gay.
That she is part of the LGBTQ plus
Oh,
community.
I was just kidding. Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh.
In the Trick or Treat Scooby-Doo movie that recently came out, that looks absolutely fucking gorgeous. The animation is amazing. She has the hots for one of the new female characters on it. So,
I think people always kind of suspected that. And
That was
now
like-
we're at a point where it's just like, just do it.
well, and then now we have the Mindy Kaling Velma show that's going to be like an adult version of Scooby-Doo, and they released the cast for that, and I forget everybody who's in it, but I know that Dennis from It's Always Sunny is playing Freddy,
Oh, really?
which I think is perfect, and
And
then Shaggy, there, and the posters are calling him Norbert, which is his
It's
Christian name,
Norville. Yeah.
which is his Christian name, and he's black in the new thing, and I think he looks fucking awesome, and I forget who's voicing him, but
Sam Richardson?
Oh, is it a cartoon?
Sam Richardson.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah,
I
it's
thought
an
it was live
adult.
action.
It's an adult HBO Max cartoon.
Right on.
Yeah, so a lot of people were excited about that.
I'm surprised that's not getting backlash.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it is.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. I just ignored it because it's Scooby Doo. Who gives a fuck?
Scooby Dooby
Dune,
Doo. Who
the
gives
sisterhood.
a fuck?
June?
Is one of
show?
those things that's apparently still moving forward with Emily Watson and Shirley Henderson cast. I kind of know Emily Watson from some stuff. Just wanted to mention it because we're Dune fans. But
Couple
that's
of
still
Duners.
apparently happening. You briefly mentioned this before we got on mic, but we are getting a David Harbour Santa Claus movie called Christmas Bloody Christmas, and it's going to be, I think it's called Christmas Bloody Christmas.
No.
That's not what I saw. But you keep going. Tell us what it's going to be, and I'll get the title.
Yeah, look it up, and if I'm right, you can eat my ass. And,
And if you're wrong, can we eat your ass? Or you?
if you want,
or no,
if you
no.
want to.
So
You
we
want
can-
some of that money,
so
buddy.
if we're right, we can eat your ass, and if you're right, you can get your ass eaten by us.
Christmas Bloody Christmas might have just been the headline. It might be called like Silent but Violent or something.
I think it might be Violent Night. I think.
Yeah, that sounds right. Violent Night or Christmas Bloody Christmas if you nasty.
Violet Night.
Violent Night. John, whatever you feel like doing, that's up to you. But it's directed by Joe Bagos, who I'm a big fan of from movies like VFW and Bliss. So it's going to be a horror movie. It's going to be bloody. It's going to be all neon lit. So if you're into that, it comes out this Christmas time. Trick or Treat is now back in theaters at least Galaxy for us. I don't know about your local theaters. It doesn't sound like it's a big chain thing. So check your local listings for Trick or Treat 2 or Trick or Treat because it's never been in cinemas. So this will be probably your only chance ever to see it on the big screen. I haven't gone yet because I'm a sucker who needs to buy tickets.
Might be one of the best straight to DVD or straight to video movies that I've ever seen in my entire life.
And once again, like every few years, Mike Daugherty, who is the director, said that the second one is in active development. So if you're a fan of Trick or Treat, that's a movie I'd be pissed if the sequel was not as good.
I just want more Sam.
Yeah, because it's one of those characters that from just that one movie has already become a Halloween horror icon. You can buy all the Sam stuff in Spirit Halloween.
Don't make more movies. Just make little shorts and release them.
Honestly, yeah, if every year there was a new little like 10, 15-minute little short of Sam, or even shorter than that, I think it would be perfect.
Do this shit on Patreon, or do like a paid live stream of it or something. I would do that every year.
Like a Werewolf by Night,
Yeah,
but just have it be
do like a
Sam
special
episodes.
presentation.
That'd be so fucking dope.
So fucking dope.
John, which one of these is mine here?
The one that has stuff in it still.
Okay, cool.
The one that's not poisoned, maybe. Planet of the Apes. You a fan of Planet of the Apes?
A little bit.
Yeah, we're getting a new one that is supposedly in the same universe as the previous 3 that we got, set 10 years after, called Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Glad to see that they didn't decide to somehow, for the love of God, shorten those titles when they came back. They're like, nope, we're going to go even crazier.
Because now it's Brand.
Yeah. So Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, we're getting, I think, in a couple of years. Doesn't seem to be any involvement from Matt Reeves or Andy Serkis, but who knows? That could change. But I know they're both busy, both on the Batman 2, and also Serkis has an Animal Farm motion capture movie coming out that he's working on of the George Orwell novel. So whatever, I'll wait and see. I'm not excited or not excited. It's like a couple years away. So
Yeah, and the guy directing it is the fella that directed The Maze Runner.
Trilogy.
the trilogy.
He
yeah.
directed all of them?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's the only things he's been directed. And then one thing I wanted to mention is a lot of people are hyped about the trailer for the new Richard Oakes and Adam Leader movie Feed Me, starring Neil Ward.
Yeah.
If you have not checked out this trailer, it's everywhere right now. And
If you're not familiar with their work, we talked about one of their movies and talked to them about
hosts.
hosts. Yes.
Yeah, and so we have that episode if you want to jump back if you're excited about Feed Me, but I would highly recommend it. Very briefly, it is about this is all in the trailer, it's about a man who goes through a tragic loss in his life and decides that he wants to unalive himself with the assistance of a very eccentric cannibal character. He decides he wants to get cannibalized into being unalive. So that's the setup. I've seen the movie, but I cannot tell you what I thought of it legally. But I would say check out the trailer and keep your eyes peeled.
Yeah, and maybe we'll get them back on the show.
Yeah. So look
be
out
right.
for that. But that's all the news I got for this week. That's all the news that's fit to print.
John, anything?
Nah, I mean that covered it. There's a lot of stuff that I'm excited about, a lot of stuff I couldn't care less about, but we'll likely watch for the show regardless.
Yeah, I got some more. I guess I think that we should mention it since we said that we were going to do it, and now we're not going to do it. But the Porcelain Peak movie will not be released this October.
Definitely.
Oh,
not.
yeah, right?
It's still being worked on. We're
Yes.
working on bits and pieces of it, but it just didn't work out. So we're still trying, still processing it, and hopefully we can get that to you at some point.
Yeah, if for some reason you fucking madman, you were holding your breath about this this
I
entire
know.
time, you can
Everyone's like, what movie?
you can exhale. But yeah, it's just one of those things where like we want to make sure when we do it, we got all the ducks in a row, because we've seen other people try to make movies, and we know it's very, very difficult to do. So we're not going to jump into it if we don't got our shit together and don't have the time and the resources to do it. So the dream is alive, but it may stay a dream for a little while longer.
Yeah, as soon as one of us gets an iPhone 14, I think we'll probably move forward.
That's literally what I've said like every year when the new camera comes out. I'm like, this is the year I'm going to make a movie, and I get the new, and that's my excuse to get the new iPhone.
I don't know. I mean, we record the episodes on my current phone, and they look
48 megapixels, man.
Let's argue.
Then buy the damn phone.
Let's argue some more about this. I do want to give a shout out before we end Chop Talk.
Okay, yeah,
We
shout
got
'em
room
out.
for a shout out?
Sure, yeah.
Do we have room for a shout out? I want to shout out the Quad Pro Quo podcast. That's the first time I've ever said this out loud, so I apologize that it was difficult. Did you guys do that on purpose just to fuck with me? Allie, Guido, Matt, and Tammy from the Quid Pro Quo Their
Quad-
Way Through
Quad Pro
Movies
Quo?
podcast. Yeah, I'm just reading their description right now.
Oh.
New episodes every Thursday. They have been incredibly supportive of all of our stuff, liking our stories, liking our reels, talking with me about things they liked about our new episodes, letting us know that we are indeed back in the groove this season, as much as I was nervous that we weren't after a month off. So glad to know that you are enjoying those, and thanks for supporting our stuff.
Yes,
We
thank
super
you.
appreciate it.
Much appreciated.
Oh, and another shout out. Do we have room for another shout out?
Oh, you're squeezing it in. Hurry up, get it out.
I Hope You Suffer podcast did a Patreon episode, so you got to go check out their Patreon because it features 3 movies picked by us. Host, the Zoom Seance movie, The Host, the Bong Joon-ho monster movie,
good.
and Hosts, the Adam Leader and Richard Oakes movie. And we did that just so it would be impossible for them to record the episode in any intelligible way. I haven't listened to the episode yet, but I got to see Nathan's ratings on Letterboxd, and as he was rating those movies, I was like, oh, that's interesting that he's watching those. No memory that we had told him to do it. And then he tags us in the thing, and he was telling me about what he thought of the movies. But yeah, go check that out, and go check them out in general because they also support all of our stuff on the Instagram. And yeah,
I will say, don't think that we set them up to fail on any of those. I think those are all wildly different films, aside from their titles.
yeah.
But still all good.
Weirdest trilogy of all time.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for Drop Talk.
Chop Talk.
Chop Talk.
Drop.
Quid pro quo, and we'll get started with trivia.
Per se.
That Christmas house of wax, the fog, piranha. It's one of those, right? Right?
Hey, welcome back to trivia.
What's up? Yeah, this is trivia.
Fucking name of this game? Horror Night In or some shit?
Horror trivia, the game, the movie, the game, the graphic novel.
The man, the legend. And before we get started, John's going to sing us a tune.
Hit it. Jay.
Wilbur.
I was hoping you were going to forget.
Wilbur Gray.
You can hear me like sputter out like Jay.
Your trivia tune this week is trivia, trivia. Trivia, trivia.
Oh, and I'm remembering I'm not supposed to guess it out loud, right?
Trivia.
Okay, so we are guessing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I just talked over you. Can you do it again?
This is off to a great fucking start.
Trivia, trivia. Trivia, trivia. Trivia, trivia.
It sounds so familiar, but I
trivia.
don't know.
The witches are back.
You're on the right track.
Something from Hocus Pocus 2.
It is in Hocus Pocus 2. It's not from Hocus Pocus 2. It's also on Terror Tunes Volume 4.
Baby Got Back.
Yeah, definitely. It's called Skeleton Sam by Lovecraft. And it is in one of the modern day scenes from Hocus Pocus 2. Which
John, and what is Terror Tunes?
Terror Tunes is is a playlist of songs that we put together every year. 31 songs to listen to at Halloween parties and to get you in the spooky mood.
Yeah, after I listen to all of Dead Man's Bones, then I go listen to 31 Terror Tunes. I'm like,
Yeah.
Spook City.
So when you're jacking your lantern,
Yeah.
put on 31 Terror Tunes.
Wow. All right, we're going to play trivia. We're going to do one Q&A, or two Q&A rounds, I should say. And then we're going to do, are we doing four?
4 Name That Movie.
4 Name That Movie rounds. And I'm going to read to
Wait,
Wilbur.
4?
Wilbur's going to read to Anthony.
Oh, no. Okay, I got it.
I only have 3 cards here.
I got 3 cards.
And Anthony's going to read back to me. Are we ready to get started?
Yes.
Okay. John, in a hard-ass question here. And I'm going to need you to close your eyes. Thank you. Keep them closed, please, because I don't want you to look around the room. In which Tim Burton film is Michael Keaton's character summoned by saying his name thrice times?
Frankenweenie.
Beetlegeist.
That is correct, sir. Good job.
Beetlejuice.
I don't want that poster to give it away. You know what I mean? Or yeah. Don't look at me either.
Or don't think about the several times that I've seen the film.
Yeah, don't think about that. That's why you had your eyes closed. We know you can't think.
Don't think fondly on the Day-O scene.
Anthony, which 2007 found footage movie involves a virus turning people into cannibals in Barcelona?
Oh.
A 2007 found footage film in Barcelona.
Yeah,
Is it Wreck?
it is indeed Wreck.
R-E-C?
Wreck?
Wreck twice in a row.
Rectum.
damn near killed him.
She damn near ate my money, buddies. She slurped him.
Just move on. Just move on. It's my turn. Tone, which 2000 movie begins with a teenager cheating death by not boarding a doomed aeroplane?
Final Destination.
It is indeed Final Destination with Todd Browning. Todd and Alex Browning.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, you got it. We got you there. All right, we're all tied. On the board. John, in which 1997 movie starring Sam Neill does a spaceship open a gateway to a hellish dimension?
Event Horizon.
Ooh, it's actually Event Verizon.
They actually bought the rights to the movie and retitled it.
Just for this game, though.
It's all about Sam Neill looking for cell service in hell.
Yep. Hell is just a T-Mobile store.
Anthony, which 1982 John Carpenter film? Do I have to go any further than that?
Yeah.
Takes place in an Antarctic
There
outpost.
you go. I bet you could even name the outpost if you wanted to.
Oh, yeah. Outpost 69, baby. That's going to be John Carpenter's The Thing.
The Ting!
The Ting, which we have a commentary track for if you want to go join the creep called patreon.com/portsandbake.
What's the outpost? 39? 31.
7.
31.
No, yeah. It's
Yeah. You
7?
You can't say no after you said 9 and then 1.
What? I said 39.
And then 31. And then you're like, and then when I said something, you said no.
It's not
Like
7.
you knew.
7?
No, it's 30 something.
9/11, never forget. In which
7/11 was a part-time
1968
job.
Roman Polanski film does Mia Farrow undergo a horrific pregnancy?
Rosemary's Baby.
It is Rosemary's
Sorry, that was
Baby. Good
repulsion.
job. What did you do to it dies? That's what she says at the end.
Still tied?
Yep.
All right, we're moving to name that movie. How this works is basically taboo without being copyrighted. I'm going to try to get John to guess the name of a movie by saying 3 words that are not the forbidden words. Does that make sense?
See.
Okay.
Ooh, now your stomach's the one making noises.
No, it's not.
We're going to compete
I
now?
also had pizza right before we recorded.
We're just a couple of pizza boys.
Pizza boys, you know what I mean?
Pizza Boys.
Yeah. Anyway, here we go. Vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
Goblin. And probably cocaine.
Probably cocaine.
Allegedly.
Are we looking for Stephen King's Maximum Overdrive?
That's correct, sir. Yes.
Nice, nice. I didn't even go there when you said goblins. I was thinking like Argento Goblin. The cheese man. The cheddar goblin. That's Dario Argento, the cheddar goblin.
Dario Sargent.
He said goblin like 6 times and you didn't say anything about your nuts. I'm shocked.
He's trying to...
I think he's an invader from Mars. Let me check the back of your neck. Oh, you good.
Got a little, a boil.
Boil. Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go with Reflection.
Mm-hmm.
This is a hyphenate, so Cabrini Green
Oh, fuck. That sounds so familiar.
Mm-hmm.
and
I already know what it is. I just want to hear what his last word is.
Repeating.
Candyman.
It is indeed Candyman.
Candyman.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Oh, words I couldn't say were bees, hook, and mirror.
Oh, mine were trucks, electrical comet.
Who do you think would win in a fight if we summoned them together, Candyman or Beetlejuice?
Candyman.
Yeah? You
Yeah.
think so?
Yeah.
Mm.
All right. I think you're really, really...
Well, we know that Nick Cage would lose against Candyman
Why?
because he doesn't like the bees.
Oh, not the bees.
Not the bees.
Actually, Candyman came on when I was in my hotel, and the guy was flipping through channels, and then he was like, "Oh, Candyman?" And I was like, "Yeah, go for it." And he was like, "Oh, "I never seen this."
And then we were like, let's go stand and look in the mirror and say Candyman and see if it happens.
Yeah, I did, and he didn't do it, so I killed him.
All right, this one's going to be difficult. I don't know how I'm going to do this. So let's see. Burglars.
Okay.
Burglars. Feedy.
Okay.
And turkey baster.
Okay. I'm going to go with Don't Breathe.
It is Don't Breathe, and the words I couldn't say were robbery, blind, or veteran. So I was like, ugh.
All right. We are all still tied. John, you ready for your next one? All right. Skin. Less, I guess. Skinless.
I already know what it is, but I want the third.
And besties.
Martyrs.
That is correct, sir.
People listening are like, how the fuck did he get that from
That says it
skinless?
all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mild spoilers, I guess, for martyrs. Anyway, the words I could not say were suffering, French, and rapture.
Being,
Ooh, it's such a good replacement for French.
Yeah, I got you there. That's
being
what you
French
needed.
really is suffering in itself, you know.
Unless you're a listener that wants to join the Keep Cool, then we love the French.
Just send us an email with the subject line,
Yeah. The French are assholes, Lloyd.
This one's going to be difficult, I'm afraid. This is another hyphenate. Bong Joon.
Scared. Okay.
Creature. Water.
Just the way you delivered that. Creature. Water. Is
Sugar.
that going to be the host?
It is indeed the host.
From
Not hosts
2006?
or host.
All right. Let's see, Tone. Puzzle?
Okay. No way.
Yes way.
How does this always happen?
Every week, dude. Okay, keep going.
Yeah, puzzle.
Okay.
Frank.
Are you trying to be?
Yeah, to be frank, there's a puzzle. And I can say suffering here. Suffering.
Okay. Hellraiser.
It is
I almost
Hellraiser.
said Pinhead.
We'll tear
What were
your
your
whole
Hell priest?
apart.
Forbiddens?
My forbiddens were Korea, Monster, and Sewer, which cut a lot of stuff off the board.
Yeah.
What did you have?
Cenobites, Hell, and Pinhead.
Ah, okay. That makes sense. All right. All still tied. John, I'm struggling with this one a little bit, so I'm going to do my best.
You a struggle bug?
Okay. I'm going to say bruv, John, and aliens. Does that work?
Yeah. I knew it before
Oh,
you
okay.
yeah.
So is it Attack the Block?
Yes, that is correct. Good job.
John Boyega.
I could not say Boyega, Flats, or London. But like alien? Like why would you not cross off aliens?
Yeah, Boyega keeps talking about how they're going to make another one.
I'd be down for that.
Yeah.
I've never seen this one, so this is gonna be a problem.
You want some help here?
Yes, please.
I cannot help you. Because I also have... Let me see again. Can you do the director?
I don't even know who directed that.
I'm pretty sure I do, but let me double check.
Stalling.
Yeah, so,
The Woman in White? I'm just kidding. That would have been fucking funny.
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
While you look into that, I'm gonna do the backside of the card instead, because that one I definitely can make happen.
Okay.
You won't need anything outside of this. Charles Lee Ray.
Oh, it's not what I thought, so never mind.
Child's Play?
It is indeed Child's Play.
Don't fuck with the Chuck.
I don't know.
Well, maybe you need to switch out your card before your round so that
Yeah, I
you can
think
do one
so.
that you actually know.
Because he's seen it, though, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, you'd be the only person who could get it.
Yeah, which makes me upset because I would like to take a guess at it, but if you
Let me see.
can't even remotely figure out how to pitch it to me, then that's not really fair.
Okay. We can get it.
I think I can make it happen with some
Synonyms.
clever synonyms.
Yeah.
Okay. Tone, let's see. You got to be specific on this one. If you say the wrong thing, you're fucked.
Okay.
Okay?
Hold
okay?
on. Let me. Here's the page, so maybe you can look up like what it's about, so you know. Okay. Go ahead.
Gory.
Okay.
Jackson.
Okay.
Okay. Sumatran.
Where you going?
That's a good question.
You got a 50-50 chance here.
It doesn't.
Which one do you think? It doesn't have both.
shit.
Which one do you think? I'll give it to you regardless, but I
I
want to
can't
see.
even think of the other name. No, is that open?
What region was this game made in, so you know which version to go
I know
with.
what I want to call it, but I can't think of the other one. So I'll say Dead Alive.
Mm-hmm.
But what is the other
Brain Dead.
Brain Dead.
Which is what the card says, but you got it, yeah. Dead Alive, Brain Dead.
nice.
Switchblade Sisters.
Isn't it Switchblade Romance?
Yeah.
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 I think Switchblade Sisters is something else. But anywho,
Anywho,
good
we're all
job.
still tied. All right, John. This.
You got this, bro. I believe in you.
No, I'm trying to think.
I can tell.
See the steam coming.
I need a refill. Could you blow in here? There we go. All right. Let me see here. I don't remember. Is it? Okay. Pods. Insect. And Gina.
Yeah, that works. Gina, Las Vegas.
Is that not good clues?
No, I thought they were great. Gina was a friend of mine.
So pods,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Multiple.
insects,
Uh-huh.
Insect.
insect, singular.
I think. I mean, yeah.
in a manner of speaking,
And
from a certain point
Gina?
of view.
Yeah.
Like Gina Davis.
Exactly like Gina Davis. Is what I would say.
Shit.
I know that there's another word I could have said, but I can't remember what letter it started with.
Was it?
The G or the B.
I almost said something that was just going to give it straight away, and I think there's no shot you don't guess it. Don't overthink it, bro.
I mean, it's too late. I'm already into overthink territory. None of this sound. I mean, this sounds like a whole bunch of other shit that.
You got it.
Oh, I think insect. The very singular insect. That helps a lot. The fly.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, directed by David Cronenberg.
No, what's the type of fly?
A housefly.
Are you thinking Brundle?
I
Fly?
can't remember if it was Brundle or
Brundle.
Grundle because
Grundle.
I've seen that.
When I was watching the new Star Wars movies, the newer trilogy, I kept thinking of the fact that we called that one actor, what was it, Greg Grundleberg or Greg Grundleman?
It's Brundle. Okay.
Yeah, Brundle.
Yeah,
Is it Grundle?
he's the Grundle fly.
How's that make? It's not any worse or better.
Okay. All right.
You got there, buddy.
Let's see if we can do it.
So, think very literally. We'll go with femur throwing axe.
Bone tomahawk.
We get there.
Oh, that's fucking. What's the horror movie that Mel Gibson made?
Apocalypto.
I don't even know if I would call that a horror.
I thought he did one like that.
Bone tomahawk.
I thought he did one with.
Well,
Garfield.
Apocalypto is like Mayans, like.
No, I know
and,
that,
like,
but
violent shit.
I guess I was thinking something else. I thought he did one with Garfield.
Oh, Hacksaw Ridge.
Oh, that's
which is
what
not
I
a
was
horror
thinking.
movie. It's a war movie. But
Oh, really?
yeah,
Oh.
but yeah,
I
I
think
could
I
see how you
get
get
those
them
two
mixed up.
mixed up,
Hacksaw and Tomahawk. But Tomahawk's a fucked up movie. It's dope though.
Oh, I couldn't say cannibal, western, Russell. None of that means anything to me.
I was like, what the hell are you talking about for a second? Leg hatchet.
Got you there.
All right.
The old leg hat.
The old leg hatchet. Tone, you got a gypsy, which I don't think we're allowed to say anymore, but a gypsy.
Well, no, I think it's a group of people. You're not supposed to say gypped, I don't think.
Okay. Gypped. No, gypsy. Ooh.
Oh my goodness.
That wasn't me.
I know, it was me.
I'll say
That's why they call me the Blob, baby.
I'll say gypsy
Okay.
long.
All right. Good. We're getting there.
And
You should have been there just from the first thing.
Yeah, I know.
and
Drool?
Probably Ted at some point.
Probably Ted at some point.
I will say, drag me to hell.
It is indeed Drag Me to
Could you
Hell.
not say button or coin?
No, I just didn't know if you would remember that those were like parts of the movie. I don't know how recently. Oh no, we watched it together
recently,
or
yeah.
watched it for the show. But I couldn't say Raimi, Curse, or Old. I could have said
Yeah, drool.
Drool.
You can just give me the whole thing. Not all of it.
Oh, we did them all, huh? Damn, dude. Honestly, like you just threw me off completely, and I'm like, I walked my way through that trivia. But what were the scores? Did we all tie up?
Yeah,
We all tied up.
I think that's probably going to be this game going forward. It'll be more about how you guys at home did. Let us know in comments or shoot us an email with the subject line "ugh," and let us know how you did on this week's
that's-
trivia.
XUX.
Yeah, let us know if the clues that we've been
spelling.
coming up with make any fucking sense to the people listening, or if it's all
Just
stuff
because
that we
we
know
know each
just
other?
from
Yeah.
from knowing each other. But we'll see. I'd be curious to know.
Yeah, so that's 2 weeks of tied trivia. We're just going to keep it like that for now because we don't want to burn through these cards too quickly. And honestly, they're
I'm
all
enjoying
pretty
not
easy.
hating you guys every week. So
So that's going to wrap it up. We're going to take a little break for the audio listeners, and for the video listeners, we're going to plug ourselves.
yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
good.
so coming up next, we're going to slurp our Muddy Buddies.
In 5, 4, 3, 2.
Join the Creep Cult. $5 a month at patreon.com/Porcelain Peak for exclusive content, merch discounts, and more. Join the Creep Cult. $5 a month at patreon.com/Porcelain Peak for exclusive content, merch discounts, and more.
You want to see something really scary?
Hey, welcome back. We are continuing on our main dish here with the 31 Tear Tales. Yes, deep cuts from the masters. What that means is we asked you, the viewer, the listener, to pick movies from pretty big known directors that you may not have seen, that we may not have seen, that a lot of people haven't seen.
I was nervous because I didn't know how I was going to communicate properly to the audience, like what we were looking for. So I think in the little description for the question, I said like, so not Halloween, not Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like give us the other ones. And people gave us lots of wonderful deep cuts. It was just like the rest of the week's a long ass list that we pared down, tried to balance it out a little bit. I think we ended up a little Carpenter heavy, but there's a lot
I
of
ain't
Carpenter
complaining.
that we hadn't seen.
Right.
So
Yeah. No complaints on that. So here's the list real quick, a rundown. In the Mouth of Madness, which is Carpenter.
John Carpenter.
Cigarette Burns, which is
John
Carpenter.
Carpenter.
Shocker, which was Wes Craven.
Wesley Craven.
Body Bags, which is Carpenter and Hooper.
Uh-huh.
And then Invaders from Mars, which was Hooper. The Dark Half, which was
Romero.
George
A. Romero.
And then Spontaneous Combustion, which is
Tobey
Hooper.
Hooper. Yeah, so got a nice little mix there, and let's just start going through them. Let's start with In the Mouth of Madness.
In the
Shall
Mouth
we?
of Madness. So
Holy
if
hit, yeah.
you're not familiar with how this works, we're going to go through all of them in some capacity with highlighting just a few that we liked more.
Yeah, and if you've been checking out our posts for the past week, I'm highlighting these favorites throughout the week. So you've seen last week's favorites were Coraline for me, Little Nemo for this guy, for Tone, and
Scooby-Doo Zombie
Scooby-Doo
Island.
on Zombie Island for John. So
Yeah, if you haven't checked out that episode, you should do it.
So
'cause
John,
it was a blast.
tell us a
Anyway.
little bit about In the Mouth of Madness, since this was your pick for this week.
This is my pick for this week.
I wanted it
heck,
to be my pick, you son of a bitch.
Holy heck, was this movie just crazy.
So weird.
Oh, I thought you
Yeah.
were saying it was cry easy, like you cried a lot during
No,
this movie. I was
crazy.
like, damn, yeah, going crazy, going mad. It is scary.
So essentially, it's kind of a weird mix between like it's very Lovecraftian, but also has some kind of like vibes of like I got like Stephen King-ish.
Totally.
Because it's based around a New England territory, and basically it's about this writer Sutter Kane who goes missing, and Sam Neill is on the case trying to hunt this motherfucker down because apparently he has a manuscript for a novel that is supposed to be super intense, and the company that is publishing his books wants this book. So they send him out to look for Sutter Kane, but it turns out that the things in Sutter Kane's books are coming to life, which is fucking intense. Sam Neill is great in this.
Except when he says the F word, because then his accent really comes through. It's like, fuck!
Yeah, but it's still really good.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
still not to this day 100% certain what Sam Neill sounds like as a person, because
Yeah.
I know in Jurassic Park, Spielberg was like, okay, do an American accent. So he did it for a little bit, and then he was like, no, never mind, do your regular accent. And then they ended up landing somewhere in between. So all throughout that movie, he's doing some sort of like in between, just like Sam Neill version of an American accent. And then I don't remember what he does in Event Horizon. And then, yeah, in this, I was like, I can't tell if he's kind of trying to put on an accent or if he's not supposed to have an accent. Whatever. I agree. He was great in this.
Best part of the movie, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, the in the Mouth of Madness is reminiscent of the Lovecraft in the Mountains of Madness, which is something that Guillermo del Toro has been trying to adapt for ages. So there's that. I got a lot. We talked a little bit about this. I got a lot of like David Lynchy Twin Peaks vibes, and more of David Lynch's like darker stuff like Mulholland Drive and Lost Highway. Got a lot of reminders of that kind of imagery in this. And I think a lot of these directors, I joked, drugs just must have been pretty awesome back in this day and age. But it definitely seems like from a lot of these deep cuts, these guys were just high on something good and coming up with crazy ass ideas. But I was pretty like lost, but totally on board throughout this entire movie. I was like, I don't know what the fuck's going on, but I'm into it.
So yeah, basically it's like there's a very meta take in this where it's being we have this character that we're following who we are led to believe is existing in real life, but who's actually, spoiler alert for this movie that's very old, being like written by Sutter Kane. Mm-hmm. And then like eventually we get to the point where this book, they're like, oh no, the book already is out. Like you can pretend like you've destroyed it, whatever. That's totally fine. But that's how you've been written. This is, this already did happen. It's already out, and more people are now seeing it. And because it's now been like workshopped into a movie, and like you can definitely tell things like a movie that we'll talk about here in a little bit, Cigarette Burns, have a lot of similarities and kind of like this weird like
Very
meta
similar
look
plot.
at like media in general.
Yeah, I would almost say that Cigarette Burns was him just going like, I'm just going to do In the Mouth of Madness again, but as a hour-long thing instead of doing, because they're pretty much the same
With less
thing.
charisma.
Yeah, you get the benefit of having the Sam Neill performance in this, but some of the imagery in this is pretty fucking creepy. I mentioned to him like the kid like biking down the like lonely road at night and then coming
John
back.
Carpenter.
Yeah, and then and then coming back and being like old and grotesque and creepy and everything was
John
cool. Yeah, I love that when they go like they just suddenly show up to Hobbs End and it's daytime all of a sudden, and everyone there is just a little like Twin Peaksy, a little bit off, and then there's all these like little weird ghoul kids who are like, "You're my mommy now. It's mommy's day."
I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, just very, very creepy. And yeah, you have this whole like framing device where you already saw that Sam Neill at some point ends up in an insane asylum with like crosses and shit like drawn all over him and his clothes and all over the walls, and he's like, I'm not insane, it's Sutter Kane. When he first gets on the mission, he has the guy come like try to attack him, like bash the window in with the axe, and then he's just like, do you read Sutter Kane? I can definitely see why people quote that all the time, because it's a very chilling line, especially toward the end when you have Lionel Luthor from Smallville asking in the
Right.
insane asylum, like, do you read Sutter Kane? And you understand that now means, like, if you've read Sutter Kane, you're probably going to do some evil, violent stuff because it drives you insane. And yeah, just having the layer of just what is there even a reality for Sam Neill's character? Because then you think like, okay, well, that whole thing happened, but then he goes into the movie theater at the end and he sits down and he's watching the movie and
Starring
he sees
him.
Yeah, and the movie is scenes that have happened already in the movie and like starring him in the insane asylum, and he just starts laughing hysterically because it's just like, okay, like I'm not real, nothing's real, everything's fictional, and the walls between reality and fiction no longer exist.
What do you think? What do you think happened?
So, I think that he was a character the entire time. I think that it's
So
like
we're just in a Sutter Kane story,
I think so. Yes.
framed around being in a Sutter Kane story.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that it blends a really good like layer of like psychological horror, which obviously I gravitate towards very heavily, but also with like all the little Carpenterisms that make scratch that little part of your brain that's like, ooh, I like that shit.
Yeah.
I think that it just does a really good job, and I think that the performance is good. I think that it didn't get a lot of love on release, which is why none of us had seen it, and it's gained a cult following for a reason. I would say this is probably one of his better projects.
Yeah, I had heard so many amazing things about this movie over the past like 5 years or whatever, because it does have like a big growing cult following, and I would fall asleep every time I put this on for some reason. But this last time going through it, I was like, oh, okay, like I get it now. Like, and I'm a huge David Lynch fan, so as soon as I made that clicked in my head where I was like, oh, he's using that similar kind of like, this is dream logic where things don't necessarily have to make total sense as long as the imagery is provocative enough or it's creepy enough, you'll just roll with it. And because it is all about the blending of reality and fiction and all these like meta layers and everything, you can't really be like, well, this doesn't make sense, I don't know what the fuck's going on here, because it's like neither does the character, and that's the point, is that he's going insane, or he thinks he's going insane, and you're in the mouth of madness, and you're supposed to feel just as lost and confused about what's real as the character is by the end, where you're like, whoa, I really went on a journey with that, and I feel like I'm insane and I don't know what's real anymore. And so it's very effective in that way. I think it's very gorgeously shot, and yeah, this is probably one of my favorite Carpenter movies now, outside of like the top tier, Halloween and The Thing. Like, this would probably be up there, because I've seen like Prince of Darkness does a very kind of similar vibe to this, where there's kind of like the weird blending between reality and fiction. And
well,
he says
this is in a
Apocalypse trilogy.
Yeah, the trilogy with Prince of Darkness and The Thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and having seen all three of them, I could definitely see how they fit together, especially Prince of Darkness and In the Mouth of Madness. I would say if you liked In the Mouth of Madness, you probably like Prince of Darkness quite a bit. But yeah, I had a really great time with it, so it would have been my pick if it hadn't been your pick. Glad we talked about it.
Was there anything that you didn't really like particularly, or?
Not really. I mean, like I said, I dug the vibe, especially leading into not only a movie that we watched this week that was a Stephen King adaptation, and then also leading into a week that's all Stephen King adaptations. Like I said, I really got that New England horror vibe.
Yeah,
it
does feel
early.
like a Stephen King movie. And then Sutter Kane obviously sounds like Stephen King. They mentioned Stephen King in the movie. That's why off mic I asked Anthony, like, did Carpenter and King have beef? Because it almost seemed like he was kind of taking a dig at him.
So the vibe is, from what I've heard behind the scenes, was that it wasn't supposed to be about Stephen King. It was supposed to be about L. Ron Hubbard.
Oh, making Scientology.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes a hell of a lot of sense. I do think that Sutter Kane is obviously supposed to sound like Stephen King, even the way his book covers are designed.
Oh yeah,
look very
they
Stephen King.
immediately gave me Stephen
But
King
I think it's
vibes.
more of like who is the closest real life equivalent to like a sensational, crazy, successful horror writer. Stephen King's the only one that you can really say is like the modern equivalent of what they were trying to go for in this. Yeah,
The Coons.
yeah, Dutter Kane. Yeah, and so I think there is that parallel there too. And then I mentioned to you that at least in one instance, maybe multiple, Stephen King has had his books get blamed for influencing people doing awful things in real life. So I think it is trying to. This and Cigarette Burns are trying to make that commentary on like, can the media really make you insane? Like, can it make you do awful things just because a movie is so fucked up or a book is so fucked up and crazy? Yeah, exactly.
Apparently
so
did that. Yeah.
age-old tale of the horror genre.
Yeah, and one thing that we're going to talk about later shows up in this a little bit is some references to Harry Potter that we think J.K. stole from some horror movies.
Yeah.
That little ghoul on the back of the dude's head. I was like, she ripped that off.
Yeah, so we have a whole conspiracy that we built over the past few days
Yeah.
about how J.K. Rowling has stolen
Out of
literally
this 7
everything.
list, number 3 is gonna shock you.
Yeah,
that
she's
could be our
stolen
clickbait.
literally
Yeah.
everything that made the Harry Potter and the timeline matches up. That's the crazy shit.
All right, right on. So, I mean, yeah, I liked it too. I thought it was a good time. And again, like, if you go into it, know that you're not going to understand what the fuck you just watched because it is just the craziness, like the ending, I guess. You're not going to understand what really happened and what didn't happen because nobody knows. I don't
Well, and I think if you go
that's
into
the
it
point, though.
knowing that, yeah, it's going to help you a lot. I think that's what tripped me up a few times was like expecting it to not be like a David Lynch film. And when I go into David Lynch films, I expect them not to make any fucking sense, but to be really awesome and creepy. So go in with the same mentality. I think it would be easiest to probably just talk about cigarette burns after this since they're so similar.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, cigarette burns is that your pick? No, you're doing body
No,
bags?
I'm doing body bags, but yeah.
So cigarette burns, it's kind of the same story. I really liked the idea behind cigarette burns. We get a man who has been hired to find a mysterious film. So almost very similar where a man is hired to find an author or a manuscript.
the All du Film du Monde, something.
Yeah.
The English translation. It was driving me insane how many times they said the name of it in the movie, like in the French, and hearing people like say it in different versions of the accent. But the
Yeah.
I think it stands for like the absolute end of the world.
Yeah.
But yeah, the bit is that the reason the movie disappeared was because it had I think one screening, and at that screening
It was a
everybody
massacre.
went like homicidally mad, which is
Burn the place down.
yeah, similar to a movie that I watched recently called Demons. Except they actually turn into demons and shit when they watch the movie. It's cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that's basically what the movie is.
So
This
Norman
one
Reedus
stars
mopes
Norman
around
Reedus.
for the whole movie, giving a
Cardboard
negative
conformity.
performance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was bad. I don't know how you thought about it.
The performance is not great. I mean, it's tough because like he's a character actor. He plays a very similar character.
He's one character actor.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you've watched
Boondock.
yeah, Boondock Saints, I mean, he plays a very similar character to Daryl from The Walking Dead, which are his two claims to fame.
Right.
I've heard that his voice acting is good in the video
Death
game.
Stranding.
Yeah, Death Stranding. But that's neither here nor there.
It seems like he's just reading from the script.
Well, I felt like for a character who's supposed to have been through this like horrific trauma of having his girlfriend or whatever unalive herself, and then him like it just feels like you don't really get that from the character, and then all this insane shit that he's seeing happen, he's just kind of like, oh yeah, I'm starting to see weird like cigarette burns in my vision. That's weird. And then like when he people are getting murdered all around him, and he's like going unconscious and waking up to people being murdered, he's just like, okay, well that's weird.
It is like the diet version of In the Mouth of Madness. Like it's very similar.
Yeah, I do think
I feel like Norman Reedus not being an interesting performance is what drags this down. Because everything
100%
else
agree.
around it, I love the imagery.
Udo
love the
Pierre
idea.
Pierre is very creepy as like the collector guy who wants the film in the first place. All the people that he meets give really great performances. Like I love the idea of like the reviewer who hasn't been able to try to write the perfect review for this movie for the past
And he's
like,
got
however
like
many years.
pages and pages of like a manuscript of his actual real review.
Yeah,
of
and
the
it
film.
builds up the tension of like, what the fuck could this movie possibly be? And you get shown really early on that there is something to do with them having like kidnapped and sacrificed an angel to make this movie.
Or a demon.
Yeah, and so they have this thing with like its wings cut off, like chained up in a room, and that's very disturbing looking. And the guy has like the wings as a trophy on the wall in the office. And yeah, you just keep getting hints of like when he first hears the voice of the director who made the movie, he starts seeing like the little cigarette burn like cue marks pop up in his vision, and then he starts having weird just visions in general. And then you learn that the director ended up like dying in a attempted murder suicide. So it's very dark. It's a really cool idea, and I actually watched this before In the Mouth of Madness. I feel like I may not have been as like surprised by how cool this idea was if I had seen Madness first, but just seeing this I was like, this is a really fucking cool idea. I think if it just had a much more charismatic performer at the center of it, it would have done gangbusters. But also I had to keep in mind it's a single episode of
a television
show, Masters of Horror, so they probably had a Norman Reedus level budget you know,
Yeah.
to get
And this is
somebody
before
in
he
to do
you know,
it.
was any real fame, you know, because Boondock Saints was panned when it came out. I mean, so he was just kind of a
Yeah, but I think the angel imagery is really, really cool. And then the thing that really stuck with me was when Udo Kier is like feeding his intestines
I called
into
that
the
shit.
projector.
I called that shit
and it's
because
like sucking them out and like into the projector. I was like, whoa.
I watched it with Mrs. Jig, and I was like, he's just standing over by the projector, and they're having conversations. I'm like, he's gonna run, like, this is gonna be the most Carpenter shit I've ever seen in my entire life. He's gonna run his intestines through as film, and sure as shit, that's exactly what happened. She's like, oh.
Yeah, it made
I'm
me
like, dude,
hungry.
it's just a garden hose and syrup. You just gotta get past it.
It was good though. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that part. And some of this was pretty fucking graphic. I was like, "Fuck yeah, dude!" People
Homie stabbing
their
their eyes out, yeah.
Yeah.
everything. I was like, "All right, do it." Get
If
some.
anything, it made me very interested to watch more Masters of Horror. If it's a show that's allowed to get that graphic,
Yeah.
you know, for the time that it was made, I'm like, oh shit, I should watch the rest of this because I know they have like Hooper doing episodes and a bunch of other people. So
Cool.
I'm
All
interested
right.
to check it out too.
Yeah. So, would you say worth checking out?
I would absolutely say so. You can get over Norman Reedus' milquetoast performance with literally everything else in this 55-minute runtime.
And it's short, so
it's
that's nice,
snappy. It tells an interesting story. It keeps you engaged in the mystery, even though you get some of it like early on, and then they kind of breadcrumb you through the rest of the way. I felt like it worked really well. It does kind of have that made-for-TV kind of veneer on it, but I feel like the story carries it through a lot of that, and they spent a lot of money on the effects, which I was very happy about.
something that I almost completely forgot to mention is that I felt like this almost had the feel of Carpenter trying to do a Giallo movie, because he has Deep Red playing in the beginning at the movie theater, and then
Profundo Ross, yeah.
Yeah, and then the score throughout the entire thing is like the do 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 do, you know, like it sounds like Goblin.
Written by Cody Carpenter.
Yeah, and so I was like, they're obviously doing a riff on that, and then the whole like, you know, ordinary guy like investigating something and meeting a bunch
Totally.
of characters and like having graphic stuff happen eventually because of it. You know, felt very Giallo. So I was like, cool, outside of like the lighting and stuff.
Yeah,
I wanted to point that out.
All right, let's talk about the next one here, the Craven, the Shocker, or I guess just Shocker. This one, Anthony and I did a deep analysis into how J.K. Rowling probably ripped this off to make Harry Potter.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, right? We get a foster person who his parents were brutally murdered.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
We get
Lightning.
We get lightning. We get a bald villain.
We get a bald villain.
We get a man who is somehow psychically connected to that bald villain and has dream visions of crimes he's committing.
So, I mean, the list could go on and on.
And we
for a
looked
little
it
bit
up,
longer.
and this movie came out a mere 8 months before Rowling started writing Philosopher's Stone.
Coincidence,
So I think,
John?
I think not.
I think so.
fucking turf bitch.
Yeah, so I mean, really, the only thing that I really dug about this was Mitch Pileggi, who
Being just a piece of shit.
being just a
Dude,
piece of
it's
shit.
So weird to
I just
see him
love
as that
seeing
instead of
because I'm
Skinner.
so used to seeing him as Skinner from X-Files. I know he's also in Supernatural because
Yeah, he's
when,
the grandfather.
yeah, when I sent the like screenshot or whatever to Adrian, she was like, "Oh, it's the guy from Supernatural."
Yeah.
And, but yeah, seeing him in stuff like that, and then seeing him hamming it up so much in this, I was
Just fucking scenery chewing.
Yeah, so basically, if you don't know, Shocker is about a serial killer that is caught, then put to execution very quickly. So it lost me there. And then
I was convinced that I had missed the first act of the movie, like that I
Nope.
had clicked in the wrong, and I was like, "This is going super quick."
So then when he dies, he becomes, because he gets electrocuted, he becomes like electricity.
So he has
Kinda,
made a
in
deal
some
with
way.
the devil.
Yeah.
And
It's
that
very
deal-
convoluted.
Yes, that deal with the devil allows him to be electricity, but also like take over
He can
people's
possess
bodies.
people for some reason. That means
we have electricity.
But for some reason,
Man.
even though they have fully functioning bodies, they all have his limp.
yeah.
Yeah, the movie is bad. And the reason that one of the reasons I wanted to put it on this list is because my brother used to watch it all the time when we were kids, and I feel like I used to be scared of it. And so I was like hoping, And then I was like, oh, this is not even a
Well, I
scary
I
movie.
found
It's-
it funny.
It's it's a comedy.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be, and I guess it's supposed to be Craven's kind of answer to what happened with the Freddy franchise.
So this
I was like,
But it
I
felt
wanted to
like
say-
it felt like one of the bad Nightmare sequels, which was the weird thing about it. Was I was like, okay, so there's so much about this movie where it's just Craven doing Nightmare on Elm Street, but like he picked his 10th best villain idea. You know, like Freddy was one and the Shocker guy was way down here, and he was like, we'll do this now. Because you have all of the like characters having, you know, the crazy dream sequence stuff, and then him like showing up on the TV and saying wacky punchlines, and then especially when he like takes over the Barcalounger and starts attacking the guy that way. It's all very Freddy Krueger.
Harry Potter.
Yeah, exactly. That I think that's what I was like. Yeah, with a fucking Slughorn. That was a ripoff.
What were you gonna say?
I do feel like this is a movie that walked so things like New Nightmare and Scream could run.
In what way?
I feel like
Because this
he
is a lot
worked.
goofier than both of those.
So he worked out a lot of his comedic timing here.
Oh, I see.
I saw it differently as if Wes Craven had made Scream without Kevin Williamson, it would be more like this than it would be a success. Like I feel like Wes Craven maybe doesn't have the comedic chops.
I mean,
I'm not to say that, and maybe he did. He's always a funny guy in commentaries, but this to me showed. I don't know who the writer on this was, but if it was Craven or not, but whoever the writer was on this, I didn't feel like really melded with Craven's sensibilities in a way that Williamson did, because I think a lot of what makes the comedy and Scream work is the writing. It's not Craven's directing, especially.
Did Williamson write New Nightmare?
That I don't know.
I don't think so.
Because New Nightmare has a lot of great comedic moments as well.
Wes wrote and directed this.
Yeah, so maybe he's not as great a writer as he is a director. Because
I could definitely say that.
I don't think he wrote New Nightmare.
Let's see, real quick.
Looking up things.
New Nightmare was
Written
written and
by-
directed.
Oh,
Wow.
well, maybe you're right, John, and everything
said-
you just said was wrong. But I was feeling like that was something I was thinking about the whole time, because I was trying to figure out, like, okay, this is kind of an in-between movie where it's come out obviously a while after Elm Street and shortly, relatively, before Scream. So I was like, okay, there are some things about this, like the main character and some of the shooting around that kind of felt more Scream-like, and then there were obviously the dream sequence things and stuff like that felt more Nightmare-like, and so it does feel like a weird kind of in-between where and a lot of these directors seem to just want to be completely goofy and off the wall with their later period stuff, where they're just like, but they would complain about it, or not Tobe Hooper. Tobe Hooper was like, Texas Chainsaw 2, goofy as fuck. I don't care. It's going to make no fucking sense. It's going to be wild. But all the rest of these directors are like, oh, grumble, grumble. They made my movies goofy. And then he goes and makes this. And I'm like, well, then you can't be that mad about Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
Yeah. I guess that makes sense. I see where you're coming from, where especially going from this to New Nightmare. I don't know if that's the next thing that he did.
I'm
but-
pretty sure it's 89 or 90 is when Shocker comes out, and then 94 is when we get New Nightmare.
Yeah.
So there's something in between, but I feel like this is him kind of working out the kinks of his comedic timing.
I can see that. Because New Nightmare is a very different direction even from the Nightmare franchise.
Yeah.
And it does feel like a Scream prototype. So, all right, cool. Well,
Yeah.
then, would you recommend this?
No.
God, no.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I was like, is he going to say yeah? Because fuck him. Yeah, it didn't do anything for me.
I mean, if
I
you're-
would never watch it again, really.
If you're into really schlocky stuff and that like does it for you, and I know there are people who I've seen give ratings to this that are like 4.5, like there are people who like this is the sweet spot for them. It's just not
There's
in my
fun to be had.
taste.
Definitely.
That's a good point. And I didn't know going in that it was going to be a comedy, that it was supposed to be really funny. So I thought it was going to be a lot more serious. And it starts off like that. But then at the end, you get them traveling through fucking TV channels.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, this is like really, really
I
goofy.
could see it being kind of like a Return of the Living Dead type movie that you go back, like once you know what it's all about, you can
Yeah,
go back with
that's a good
friends
point.
and laugh at it. Like, oh, I can't wait for the, let's take a ride in my Volkswagen line, and we all cheer because we're all like big fans of it. Like the later Nightmare movies, where like some of them you watch just because there's goofy shit happening, and
Yeah.
I want to see him ride a witch's broom.
Yeah, that's
you know?
exactly what I was thinking. That's funny. All right, anything else you want to say about Shacker?
No,
just
except that it's very impressive that Craven was able to come out of the hole that he dug with movies like this and have such a great late period before he passed away.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
happy
Cool.
for that.
All right, next up is Body Bags. Take her away.
I'm a fucking sucker for an anthology, bro. That's all I gotta say is anthologies will almost always win me over in some way because I have a short attention span, and I love that I can get a nice little gas station psycho murderer horror movie, and then I can get a weird parasitic hair growth horror movie, and then I can get Mark Hamill with a serial killer's eye horror movie, and then
Didn't they just rip that off for I?
Oh yeah, that idea's been
There's
done a million
VHS,
times, and
segment like that too.
And I think there's a Black Mirror episode that also does something similar to that. I think it's the one where the guy has like the military guy gets the eye things that lets him see that all the monsters they thought they were killing were actually like refugees, like people.
That's right.
Anyway, yeah. So I love that immediately. Love the tone of this because this was originally, like we talked about off mic, supposed to be the setup for a new Tales from the Crypt-esque horror anthology show, bringing in a bunch of Carpenter's friends and different directors. And this has a tone that's very similar to something like Tales from the Crypt, where it has like the irreverent punny host and
this played by John Carpenter, which is cool.
Yeah, I loved. I mean, he's very goofy, but I
Just
thought
like
it was great to
drinking
see him.
formaldehyde out of a fucking martini glass and shit.
Yeah, I thought he was great. Like, he was doing his Crypt Keeper thing, and that was awesome. And then throughout the stories, especially like in the first one, you get
So
many cameos.
Sam Raimi showing up not only as the employee of the week, but then as the body that falls out of the locker when she opens the locker. So you get Raimi, which is great.
Wes
you get
Craven is a creeper.
wandering up as he's credited as like pale greasy man or something like that. So you get him coming up. In the Mark Hamill story, you have
Lizzie McGuire's dad shows up.
Lizzie McGuire's dad shows up.
From Revenge of the Nerds.
Greg
Sure,
Nicotero shows up at one point in this
for like
You
a
get-
brief second.
With just to show off how nice his hair was. So good.
I was like, that Fabio looking motherfucker.
Yeah, and then you have Carpenter directing 2 and Hooper directing 1, so you get a nice little collab in the stories and who's directing them. The first one was a lot of fun because it was super simple, and also there's they're talking about Haddonfield the whole time. They're like, oh, this
Right,
happened
that
in
was cool.
Haddonfield, right down
For me,
down
yeah,
the
that was
road.
one of the best parts, was just trying to pinpoint all the connections to other things that were in this, and I enjoyed that. I thought this first story, although predictable, was a good time. Like, as soon as she showed up, I was like, obviously he's the killer.
Yeah.
I did not even pick up on that, and so when it was revealed, I was like, that's fucking scary. When he's just standing across the parking lot and he just
Yeah.
picks up the phone and she realizes what's going on, and then he just like barrels basically at the thing with the and does his best Jack Torrance through the window.
Well, and he's in the picture of Raimi in the uniform is like she knocks it over the first time she goes in to get the keys, and then it's like oh, that's definitely not who.
That definitely wasn't Bill.
Yeah.
I was like, that dumb bitch with the keys, because I'm like, the keys have those little loopy things so you can put them on your wrist and not forget them literally every time you walk out the door. That's what that thing is for. And she
First night on the
repeatedly
job.
leaves them. But, first night on the
Yeah,
job.
Aykroyd shows up, Hooper shows up, Corman shows up, Psycho Gorman.
Psycho Corman, yeah. So really great if you're into just like cameos from not specifically horror actors, but just like people horror creatives, especially from that era.
Big names, yeah.
And then the thing, like, some people like an anthology where the stories connect more, like something like a Trick or Treat, where they all kind of like seem to connect in some way. This is not that. It's 3 just stories that you could tell were like supposed to maybe be the first 3 episodes of an anthology TV show. So in the second one, we get Stacy Keach as a man who is balding and very this is a lot more comedic in tone too, the second story, and he's balding and feels really insecure about it and decides to go get this mysterious hair transplant. And when he does it, first things, it's a monkey's paw. First things are beautiful, and he has luscious Fabio hair, and then he starts to deteriorate and get sick, and
and hairier.
and you eventually find out that they implanted like these alien worms that are like eating his brain, and that it's all a big conspiracy by this alien race to implant themselves into people. And it's said at the beginning of the story that he ended up throwing himself out the window, landing on a car, and then that car got hit by a train. That's why he just has the bag of guts that he introduces the story with. And then the third story, you get Mark Hamill doing a Mark Hamill thing, and he's got a serial killer eye, and he really
I thought that
Hamills
was pretty
it
good,
up.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
thought his-
enjoyed all 3.
Yeah, I thought his performance was good. I liked the imagery of him like looking out the window and the woman being buried in there. I just knew the whole time like where the story was going. I was like, he's gonna find out, Doctor, what did you do to me? I
Yeah, and
gave
then
you
he's
a
like-
serial killer's eye.
I know, and then he just leaves. I was like, why didn't you just have him taken out, dude?
Yeah, and I did like, again, very Monkey's Paw, where it's like you get the thing that you want, it's gonna make your dreams come true. There's an evil twist to it. You gotta stab the fucking eye out. I was just like, oh, you stabbed a little bit too deep, bro.
Yeah,
You should have just plucked it out instead of
yeah.
stabbing your whole head. And then I loved the little wraparound where you find out that he wasn't the morgue attendant, John Carpenter's character. He's one of the bodies.
Yeah.
And he lays down, and then Toby Hooper comes in, and they start going to work on his body, and he's like, yeah, I just thought it was a blast. It's right, I just love anthologies, especially when they got kind of that irreverent, goofy tone. Definitely felt like a Creep Show or a Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah,
which
absolutely.
I'm a big fan of. So
Yeah. What
Yeah.
about you? How are you feeling?
Like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought that it was nothing but a good time. I do feel like all of the stories either feel like they were derivative or were derived from, because like I said, the Eye was eventually a story that was told very differently, in Japan, and then brought back here again. But I felt like it was just all fun. I felt like the cameos were always like, me doing my best Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the screen.
Yeah.
But
I fucking know that guy.
But it was just a good time. And like I said, I loved the little in-between parts and having, Carpenter just cracking jokes and, doing Carpenter things.
It's weird because I wonder what he actually looked like when he filmed this, because that's basically what he looks like now.
Just like the kid on the bike.
Yeah.
Off the bat is. I was like, oh shit. All right. Yeah. Recommend for me too. I had a good time with it. And that is on Prime if you're interested. If you haven't seen it already.
It's also on Shudder.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. Let's do The Dark Half next. This one is by George Romero.
And it's an adaptation of a Stephen King story.
Right, so I didn't know that going in, but like 15 minutes in, I was like, this feels like a Stephen King story. And
Yeah.
it was. And it is about a writer, classic King,
Who would have thunk it?
I know, who starts losing his mind, and one of his fiction characters comes to life.
Yeah, so it's
Which you pointed out is one of the actors from Hill House.
it's Timothy Hutton who plays the older version of the I almost said
Dad.
Rob Thomas,
Henry
Thomas
Henry.
character.
He's also in the show Leverage, which I was getting ads for when I was watching one of the other movies for
That's
this
so
week.
funny.
Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
you recognize that it was that guy?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't until he told me. And I was
So
like, oh shit.
my observation was I thought he really looked like Henry Thomas at this stage in his life, that Henry Thomas looks like now. So I thought that was great casting on the part of the casting for Hill House. But outside of that, I also think that he gives a fantastic performance in this movie, and a dual performance, playing both his character and the pseudonym. So basically the idea behind this is based largely off of Stephen King's actual experience. This is coming off the heels of the fact that he had written a few books under a pseudonym, Richard Bachman. He probably
Blaze.
the most famous of this is Thinner. It was one of the books that he wrote
that was a
as
Bachman book? Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
And he said that the reason that he wanted to do this was because he wanted to see if he could replicate his success, and if it had been a fluke or not, if he could start writing other stories under a different name and that they would still sell as well based on the quality and not just his name. He was starting to get disillusioned with the idea that maybe people were just buying his shit because it said Stephen King in big ass letters on it. And when eventually it was found out by like a publishing assistant, had been reading the Bachman books, saw there were similarities, went and found out that his name was on like the paperwork for the Bachman stuff, and was like, hey, I'm gonna leak this to the press. And King was like, yeah, go ahead, whatever.
Yeah.
The Bachman books blew up in popularity and sold crazy numbers after that when everybody realized they were Stephen King.
How funny.
And he had a little mini like press release funeral for the Bachman character and said that he was gone. Also tying into all of this is that King was notoriously very, very heavy into drugs for a good period of his writing career, and then
Allegedly.
no, he's very vocal about it. Lots of different drugs, and the character in this kind of has that split between where like his wife talks about like, oh, when you're writing as the what's the Jack whatever
Sutter Kane.
whenever you're writing as the
Sutter Kane?
the Sutter Kane, the dirtier version of your character, you're like drinking and smoking and
I
being all
see.
crazy, and then when you're
Getting
not,
into character,
yeah, so that's the thing that I appreciated the most about this was knowing a lot about Stephen King's life. This felt very personal to Stephen King, and the idea of like a writer having to part with a a pseudonym or an alter ego that they've become very attached to. This is like they're actually literally living off of each other. Then you get the stuff where I was like, wow, Malignant really just ripped off several different movies. There's Basket Case, and there's one other that I...
Yeah, so part of what happens in this one is the main character, is it Timothy Dutton?
Timothy Hutton.
Yeah. He has these headaches, and he hears these birds, so they do some surgery, and they find out that he absorbed a twin at some point, and so they remove it. But what he doesn't know is his parents actually buried it and had a funeral for it.
Yeah.
And so that is what more or less kind of what gave birth to this other person.
Yeah, it's like somehow
Kind of.
supernaturally grown into an adult
But
version.
very Malignant if you haven't seen Malignant yet.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was cool. And I think, and we talked about it a little bit off Mike Anthony, that was kind of one of my biggest takeaways with this week is not all these movies were amazing and not everything blew me away, but it was cool to see where more modern stuff has taken inspiration from.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't
really
think
cool.
I don't think there's anything wrong with Malignant taking these elements and making them into just a fun, crazy movie. Like, it's been long enough. It's not like James Wan is like suddenly ripping off this movie that just came out and like.
And he did it with The Changeling. No one cared, and that's one of the good parts about The Conjuring. It was like the Changeling scene is great.
Yeah.
So, how do you feel about this dark half?
It's got some good vibes to it. Like I said, I feel like the
Feels
performance
very TV movie though.
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of that this week. It doesn't have the same TV vibe problems that one of the other movies we'll talk about here shortly. But I felt like Hutton gives a good performance. I feel like Hutton is a good actor in general, so I feel like you can't really go wrong there.
What's General?
And
He was a good actor in that.
Yeah.
What's his name shows up in this? Mary Poppins, y'all.
Yeah, Rooker.
Rooker, yeah,
I was
Michael
gonna say
Rooker.
Dick Van Dyke.
Mary Poppins,
Yeah,
y'all.
Rooker plays Alan Pangborn, who's a recurring Castle Rock character. A lot of this
They
takes
mentioned
place,
Castle Rock.
around Castle Rock in Maine, obviously. So if that didn't give away the Stephen King thing right away, but yeah, and he plays the character that Scott Glenn played in the Castle Rock show, the sheriff character.
Oh, okay.
And I think Pangborn also shows up in Shawshank, but.
Pangborn.
Yeah, so nice little references there. The thing that I thought was most interesting about watching a lot of these movies was that if you've only seen like the most popular versions or the most popular movies from each of these directors, it's very easy to be like, okay, Romero makes this kind of movie, like a gory zombie, people getting torn apart movies, or Hooper. Especially if you've only seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and especially if you've only seen the first one, it's very easy to watch anything else he's done and be completely shocked that it doesn't feel like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But you got to remember, people like Hooper also did movies like Poltergeist. So like when I was watching a movie that we're going to be talking about, Invaders from Mars, I was like, where's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre? And then I'm like, no, they made a lot of other movies, and these people like didn't necessarily all make the same movie. So it was a challenge for me looking into them and going like, okay, where are the Carpenter-isms and like where are the Romero-isms that I like might recognize from other stuff. And my eye is not as like well enough trained with these directors, except for Carpenter. Like you can definitely get his feel in most of his stuff. But yeah, Romero, I was like, like what about this maybe feels like Dawn of the Dead or whatever. And outside of like the dude getting fucking eviscerated by sparrows at the end and ripped into a skeleton, I was like, it feels kind of tame.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that though.
Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm like, they don't, most of these directors didn't want to get pigeonholed into making disgusting, gory movies anyway.
Yeah.
So they
If
were
they
probably
only
happy to be
knew.
making other kinds of things.
So this one, would you guys recommend?
If you're a Stephen King fan, yes. But outside of that, I don't think you're really going to get much out of it. And there are movies that have done the same idea that are more fun, like Malignant. So I would say, if you're a big Timothy Hutton fan, yeah. If you're a big Stephen King fan, it's a decent adaptation. But I wouldn't say you have to race out and go see it.
Yeah, I think I'm in a similar boat. I don't feel like it's gonna rock your world in any way, shape, or form. I just feel like it is a well put together film.
Yeah, I'm 50-50 on it. I think you could take it or leave it. I didn't mind it, but I also am not dying to watch it again.
You're
Yeah. 50-50,
like your personality's been split in two. Like,
Oh,
maybe you absorbed
50-50, like a grind
utero.
brother.
Here's my darker half. All right, we want to do Invaders or Spontaneous?
Let's get Spontaneous out of the way.
All right, so Spontaneous Combustion is available on YouTube if that is any indication of the quality of this movie. This one was by Hooper, and this is the only one that has that BDE.
Yeah, with
Brad
the
Dourif energy, the
Yeah, but-
only redeeming quality about this film.
100%. It's so hard for me to separate him from Chucky in any capacity now because everything he said in this, I was like, Chucky?
I wish it was.
he has a very, especially when he gets like
Angry.
well, yeah, when he gets
Or,
angry,
excited.
especially, but like, yeah, anytime he gets excited and starts raising his voice, it's very difficult not to hear Chucky. Yeah, especially with how many Chucky movies there have been. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or for me, like his performance in Exorcist 3, which is also very like crazy over the top. Like, but yeah, really, just watching Brad Dourif is always a blast. I made I sent you guys a thing, and then I posted it on Letterboxd as my review. I was like, he could just show up and like be taking a dump on my front lawn, and I'd be like, hell yeah, man, go for it. Like, I'm here. Just like pull up a chair. Yeah, like I just love Brad Dourif, so it was fun watching him in this. But
So the premise of this one, real quick, is
Is Firestarter.
A couple is
it's Firestarter.
exposed to nuclear bombs. They have a son, and then that son is able to
Spontaneously
what is it?
combust.
Pyrokinetic, yeah.
Pyrocynical. And
pyrosexual.
no, he
What is that? Is that a thing?
It's a-
Pyrocynical's a YouTuber who's
controversial
been in
YouTuber.
been in hot water for things.
Who hasn't? We haven't. Yeah. So
Except the French.
This movie, I was into what it was doing for like the first 20 minutes, maybe.
Yeah.
Like when they're
No.
kind of setting up.
No thanks.
Well, before I was like, I didn't know where it was going, so I didn't know that it was going to just be Firestarter. I was thinking that there was going to be something where like he finds out that his parents were experimented on. I thought the scene of them, like, you could tell that it was setting up for them to spontaneously combust because that's the title. But I thought it was still pretty shocking
Especially when
when
he's like,
they're
crazy stuff they're doing with plastic now, huh?
yeah. But
Like, all right.
yeah, but I thought that whole setup of them like, you know, having the son and being like, oh, happy, and then their corpses just like burst into flames, and then having the scientists come up and just like pick at their bodies, and like the guy's like,
Pull his
oh,
skull
and the guy's all excited, like, yes, it's spontaneous combustion, yeah. And you can tell that like the military and all these people are just like, we don't give a shit about them, we don't give a shit about the kid, we just care about whether this can happen again, how we could replicate it, how we could weaponize it. That all comes into like the obvious like Hooper commenting on the government and the war and all this stuff. Like, so he gets that out of the way, and then you have this little kind of interesting setup where you're kind of wondering what's going to happen with Brad Dourif's character. He's kind of playing like his not usual type, and then as soon as the fire happens, the movie goes completely off the rails and just becomes, and that's exactly what Brad Dourif said in commentary. I guess he did a commentary for The Exorcist 3, and for some reason the topic of spontaneous combustion came up, and he said that it was a movie that was completely ruined by studio interference. It originally was supposed to be like be more of like a Fly-esque tragic romance between him and the like girlfriend character, and then at one point
Yeah, you can see parts of that too. And
Yeah,
I thought that,
that-
that was interesting because we get an ex-wife that we don't really know anything about, and then we get this new love interest, and they're palling around at like in a college campus and that kind of thing. And I thought that was very interesting.
Then the studio was like, no, there has to be more action, and it has to be more of a paranoid thriller movie where he's like hunting down the people who did the thing, and it just got so messy. And so yeah, even Dourif was like, as the first time my character like starts on fire, that's when the movie is like over at that point. Like all of the good stuff is gone, and it made him very sad because he was like, Hooper and I had a really cool vision for what this could have been. So,
And also the effects work is just laughably bad in a lot of
It was
places
just like
here.
someone figured out how to add a flame effect, and then they're like, yep, put it here, put it here, put it here, put it here, go ahead and put it here.
I did like his weird like gaping wound that had like ooze coming out of it and then would like shoot plumes of fire. I thought it's an interesting idea that like if it had been executed in some other different story or different capacity, it would have been cool. You can see little hints of what could have been, and that's the saddest part, especially with somebody like Hooper and Dourif. Like, you would love to see that team up be something as awesome as like a Child's Play, but instead you get this.
Yeah.
And it's just not,
Strange
it's about
mob.
as bad as Firestarter, but has a better lead.
Yeah. Anything you liked about it, John? Besides Brad Dourif?
Nope. No smiley face.
All right, so that's going to be a no recommend from all of us?
Nope. Don't
Do
even.
no recommend.
All right, right on. Okay, cool. Then let's wrap this bad boy up with Invaders from Mars.
Invaders from Mars.
By Toblerone Hooper.
Toblerone Hooper.
This one is about a little boy whose father works for NASA, and he sees a spaceship land in his backyard, and then invaders from Mars may or may not be taking over his town.
They may or may not be body snatching.
Pretty much, yes. This seems like a low-key body snatcher movie.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and this is also a remake of a like 50s sci-fi version of this,
Okay.
which I felt like
It felt like
if I had
sci-fi
had more
50s
time, I
version
would
of
have
it.
liked to have gone and watched the original before this, because there probably would have been a lot of fun like references and things that would have made this be more enjoyable for me.
Well, that is actually almost exclusively what I liked about this movie. Is it felt like a 50s sci-fi movie, and we had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah.
When what did we do? Oh, we did Monster Camp or whatever, Creature Camp.
Creature Camp.
Yeah.
Yes, and
Already
so when
forgetting, huh?
yeah, I know. Yeah, that was so last season, man.
Never forget happened to me.
And I like that aspect of it because it felt good. It felt good to be back there. And are you guys playing footsies?
Hey, you're talking about your movie. You pay attention. Don't look at what's going on the floor.
All right. Anyway, and it's kind of has this air of paranoia to it. You don't really know if what this kid thinks is happening is happening.
Yeah.
Obviously, the adults start becoming very strange, and so then you are led to believe it is. And one thing that I thought was really cool is sometimes he tells people, and a lot of times when we see that in movies, nobody believes the person until it's too late. This one, he tells the teacher, and she's like, "Okay, I'm on board." And then he goes to the military, and they're like, "Okay, we're on board."
Okay.
Yeah, at first they're like, okay, but they don't. There's not like a big show, and they're just like, all right, let's check it out, and then they figure out that he's right. The aliens are kind of goofy. I guess I will say that, but I thought that it was fun. I think it's more. It could have fit better last week. I think
Yeah.
as like a
100%. I had that
Kids.
same, because I wasn't going in expecting this to be about like a precocious kid who's going to be running around with the fucking military, like firing machine guns all around him, and he's just like, they load their weapons with copper, and then like puts his penny collection comes back as like a, you know, the Deus Ex Machina like penny collection, and then he puts the penny and he's like you point, I'll shoot, or whatever, you know, like. I appreciated that. I just wasn't in the mood for it at the time. Where I was like, I could see as a kid, this would be like a really fun movie to watch. I really loved the first part before the actual, like, basically up until the aliens show up. I was like, this is cool because it reminded me a lot of Poltergeist. The way it's shot, it felt very. I was like, oh, this is how, like, if you're wondering if Tobe Hooper or Spielberg made Poltergeist, go watch this. And I think that the first part of this will show you that like he did do Poltergeist, like it's very much his style, and I think it just is because people are confused that the guy from Texas Chainsaw Massacre could make something that feels so Amblin,
and a
but
lot
he
more
was doing
subtle
that
than-
and I think that those parts of the movie work. It's just that once the aliens show up, I just kind of like glazed over, I think, because I wasn't expecting it to be
as goofy as it was.
Yeah, and I was kind of expecting something more, not like to the level of Close Encounters, but something that was, but I guess like no what actually I think, no, because I'm thinking back and I'm like, well, I wasn't expecting Close Encounters because it's called Invaders from Mars. What I was hoping is that a movie with such a generic title as Invaders from Mars would not have felt like it was just doing the exact same thing as Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which was then also done by The Faculty and 17 other Invasion of the Body Snatchers movies. And once the reveal of like, oh, that's the way they're handling the aliens, is they're like taking over people and there's that paranoia, I was like, I'm just bored by this. Like, I've seen this a million times before.
What I think was most frustrating is you get to the end and then they fucking pull the rug out from under you. It's like, it was a dream.
That was literally
It was
my
all a
favorite
dream.
part of the movie.
Why?
Because it was terrifying. Like, up until that, the movie is like pretty goofy, and then the ending is horrifying. And I was
That's
like,
a dream?
Well, so the fact that like he goes, so he yeah, like if he goes back to sleep and just the whole thing's gonna happen again, even if it's a nightmare, like he's gonna have to relive it, or like there's something, or like him just going in and you not seeing like what happened to the parents. He's just like, oh my god.
Well, that part, yeah. But I'm just saying, like, the initial, like, it was a dream. I was like, oh. But then I was like, well, that makes sense why everybody believed him.
Yeah, because real life, everybody's gonna be like,
Yeah, no,
I don't
that's not.
think
No,
so.
like that felt cheap. It was just
Right.
that then after his parents were like, it was just a dream. You're okay. He then sees the aliens come down again.
So do you think he's
And
going
then-
to sleep again?
I don't know.
Or
That's
did
what
it
makes
really
it
happen?
scary.
I
Is that
see,
I'm
okay.
like, that's the part I liked, was that literally the end where he runs to his parents' room and you don't get to see what he sees and he freaks out.
It's like,
Because in my mind, it wasn't all a dream. I thought that was the aliens having like one at the
second
end, and they were like tricking him into thinking that hadn't all just happened. We're like, oh, like we brought your parents back and everything's okay, but you're actually like trapped, and we got you in like this.
You're
to
in
me,
the
that's
Matrix.
way like more. I'm probably putting more of like a cerebral twist on it, where it's like you've been abducted and you're trapped in an endless loop of having to relive the potato monster nightmare. But
What are your thoughts on it? Okay, fair enough. Big yawn over.
I do like that it has that really 50s throwback quality. I do also see some similarities between this and Poltergeist, at least for like the first like 20 to 30 minutes, maybe. But I don't know. It's kind of silly. I mean, I wasn't anticipating this, especially like I said, it being something that was made by Hooper. But it's not bad. It's just it's not really that good either.
it feels very similar to The Munsters, in that The Munsters is a movie where Rob Zombie said, "Okay, I want to basically literally translate what I loved about the original black and white show like directly into this new movie and make no updates or changes outside of like some of the things they reference." And that, I think, is not the best way to approach doing this kind of thing, because you need to be aware of the audience that exists in this period of time that you're making the movie. And so that's an example. Like, but something like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the 70s version, updates everything from the original version. Something like The Blob updates everything from the original version and makes it The Fly. These are all examples of, yes, we are riffing on these 50s and whatever sci-fi movies, but we're not literally just making a campy, goofy 50s sci-fi movie, but in color and stupid looking. The charm that comes from these old ones is that they had no budget. The genre barely existed. They're working with what they got. They're making shots
effects work was
no
really
no computers to do things. So that's where the charm comes from. In this, you're really getting Stan Winston, I think, is who did the effects on this to make
I think Berger was on it.
Yeah, and I think
we got all of basically everybody.
Dan
but
O'Bannon also wrote.
He wrote, yeah.
I didn't see Nicotero on it, but
No,
Berger
I'm
helped.
not on this specifically, but this week we got everybody but Savini.
Oh, yeah.
Because we got Nicotero working on stuff for Carpenter. I mean, Berger was involved with stuff. I mean, it's pretty much everyone.
Yeah, Winston.
Yeah, loses some of its charm when you try to do the same thing again.
What would you guys recommend it then?
If you have
That's a tough
kids, it
question.
might be fun.
I think that's kind of where I'm at too. I had a good time with it. I obviously didn't know what to expect either, but then once I was like, oh, this is kind of just a 50s sci-fi romp, I was on board. And so I think that going in knowing that it's not going to be much of a horror movie, it's more just like an invasion movie, like some Body Snatchers.
Yeah.
Then I think you're good. I would recommend it if you want to just have some fun, Hooper.
Yeah, I think
I will say that I did think it was creepy. Oh, this is part of the creepy part that I did kind of like in the beginning, was I liked the people just going over the hill, and then when they come back, they're just like completely different. I thought that was creepy. Like, and it's an interesting idea.
Yeah. You cannot recommend it. My feelings aren't going to be hurt.
No, I just didn't want to forget anything that I thought was like a positive note to it. I didn't hate it. It just wasn't what I was expecting. I'm sure if I went back and watched it again, like a lot of these were, it's my first time watching it, and now that I know where it fits, like tonally, then it'll be easier for me to go like, you know what, I'm in the mood for like sitting down with buds and watching, Shocker. Like, I think would be a perfect example of like, let's watch something schlocky and stupid that we like can quote lines from and be like, oh, we're excited for this stupid scene that happens when they all run through the news stations and all the TV channels.
Yeah, so outside of Shocker, everything else I hadn't seen this week, had you?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Probably not, huh?
I don't think so.
I had only seen parts of
Outside
Madness. So
Madness?
yeah, so outside of that, I had not seen any of the rest of these.
Crazy. So thanks to everybody that submitted for those. We had to narrow down the list, but that's what we went with. But I think that overall, it was interesting to see kind of what these directors either did after or before or surrounding some of their better pictures.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I also think that it's really interesting to see, like what we were talking about before, how many things were pulled from these, even though not all of these were like even good movies. Like there were so many little like influences that you can see that pushed further
Well,
into other people's careers.
It's probably a case of, well, people don't love that movie, so if I take an element from it, people aren't. I'm not going to get like the rabid fan base being like, I can't believe you ripped off The Dark Half, my favorite movie of all time. Like nobody's going to care.
Yeah.
So it's only the horror nerds who are going into the deep cuts of these people who are now seeing like, oh, there's a lot of stuff that's just straight up ripping off movies that came out in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Homaging. Yeah, and that's always a blurry line for a different discussion. So.
Right. All right, cool. That's going to wrap it up for our Masters deep cuts for this week. We're going to continue with 31 Terror Tales. You might be saying to yourself, hey, you guys, it's only the 10th. How have you already watched 14 movies? Listen, okay, we got to do what we got to do to get it to you on time. But we're watching Stephen King next week.
Yeah,
A little more Stephen King. So we got It, Chapter 1. Is that the newest one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Then we're doing Misery. Then we're doing Needful Things, which I'm excited about. Then Carpenter's coming back for Christine.
Yep.
And we got the 89 Pet Cemetery, The Dead Zone.
Don't go up to that old pet cemetery now.
And 1408,
So
which I have already got a head start. And there is one available online that has a different ending than I'm used to.
yeah, so if you're streaming this, it probably has the theatrical ending that I remembered and that you remembered. He watched it, and it had a different ending. And I, for some reason, because I watched that 1408 like a dozen times after it came out when I was a kid, I was like, oh, it's because they have alternate endings, and you probably watched like a different region's version. But either way, check out 1408 if you get a chance. I'm excited for a couple things on this list. I've seen The Dead Zone, but it's been a few years, and that's Cronenberg working with Christopher Walken doing a Stephen King adaptation. That's a crazy trifecta. And then what else do we got on there?
Misery.
I've never seen Needful Things.
Right, and that is supposed to be Bradbury-esque inspired, right?
Yeah, I haven't seen Misery in a long time, but I know it's a fantastic movie.
I'm ready to
I
talk
knocked
about
out
that
it
one.
chapter 1 last night, and yeah, other than that, Christine got another John Carpenter sneaking in there.
Christine's so good.
I'm excited to check out Misery again because I didn't really like it the first time I watched it.
It used to freak me the fuck out when I was a kid. I used to
Really?
always think that Kathy Bates was gonna show up at the end of my bed,
And just hobble you.
just hobble me,
Just kiss on
hobble
you.
me, gobble me.
Jesus, this guy.
All right.
All right, that's going to wrap it up this week. Thank you so much for joining us and for listening and or watching. We appreciate it. That's what we're going to do next week, so please stay tuned. And if you haven't already, hit up that Creep Cult. We can get all kinds of shit for $5. Right, John?
I couldn't hold it. I was just going to sit here and just stare, and I couldn't hold it for very long.
Why?
Yeah, I just wanted to. It
Oh.
was a vibe I had.
Cool. Thanks for backing me up on that.
Yes, it's $5.
I have been Tone.
I've been John.
And do you read Sutter Kane? I've been Internet Darling Anthony.
See you next time.
Keep it creepy.